For this week's vlog, we actually have a special guest. We're having the host of the 2025 National Sweepstakes Convention. Yes, there's a National Sweepstakes Convention. We'll talk about that, but it's going to be in Little Rock, Arkansas in the summer of 2025. Some of you just saw that announced on social media. So without further ado, I would like to welcome in Shauna.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Excellent. So welcome. So for those who don't know you, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you?
Okay, I'm Shauna Yance, and I am a police officer still in Hot Springs Village, Arkansas. I started sweepstaking a little over 10 years ago, and it's one of my favorite parts of my day, so I love it. And I am also a quilter. I have my own quilting business, so I am very busy with my three things that I got going on all the time.
Yeah. For those who have been to the last couple conventions, you've made these amazing quilts that have been part of like the charity drawings that they've had.
Yes, I enjoy that very much, and I hope to continue doing that for several years. I already have one in the works for this year's, so
Excellent.
Coming up in 2024.
So what got you into sweepstakes, or how did you ever start entering in general?
So I was an extreme couponer, and I loved extreme couponing when I was a police officer. I loved to save money all my life, but I had gotten on this lady's website that had a couple of sweepstakes on there, and I thought, what is that? And then she actually had a link to a newsletter. Sweep Sheet was the newsletter that she was on, and so that was the first newsletter I'd seen, and I got involved, and I got hooked from the minute I saw it. And while extreme couponing kind of went by the wayside for me, sweepstaking has not. And it, like I said, it's been a little over 10 years now.
And we were talking before we started this, and so your first convention was Atlanta, very big convention, right?
Yes, and then I didn't know. I saw that there was a convention, wanted to go, and neither one of my sisters at that time were sweepstakers. So I told my younger sister, Marty, I said, listen, you're going to Atlanta with me because I'm not going by myself. So I made her go. She didn't even understand what sweepstaking was, but she came with me.
That's interesting. And that actually was the convention that iWin started at, out of coincidence. So I attended a few before that, but then iWin launched at that convention. And have you been to most of them since, correct?
Yeah, I didn't go to Utah, and I didn't go on the cruise, but other than that, I think I've been to all the other ones.
And now you have decided that you are going to host the National Sweepstakes Convention in Little Rock in 2025.
Yes.
What made you do something like that?
So I heard that they were doing a past and present convention meeting, and they said, anybody that wants to learn more about running conventions, and they had said at that convention, I want to say maybe the first Arizona one, I think it was, not the one we just did this year, but the one a couple years ago. They were talking about how interest was waning in people running conventions. And I love going to conventions, and I didn't want to see it go away. And so I thought, I'm going to go and see if this is something I can help out with, because I want them to continue. So then when I went and sat in on the meeting, I thought, well, sure, maybe I could do this. And so I said, yeah, I'd be interested in doing it. Well, then I retired from one police job, was changing jobs, and I said, listen, when we went and talked, I said, I can't do it in 2024, but if you can give me till 2025, I'll sure do it. So,
and for those who don't know, every year there's a national convention. It's considered the big convention. Next year it will be in Las Vegas, the first week of August. All the details are up on the iWin site. iWin doesn't really host any of these, but I do help promote them for all the people involved, because it's a ton of work. And then the year after will be Little Rock, Arkansas. But for anyone interested, that's typically how it starts, is you come to a convention, you talk to people, you meet people. Sometimes they do a past, present, and future host meeting, and that allows you to answer some questions, talk to people, and really just see if it's for you and see if it's something that you may be interested in. But everyone always asks is, well, why is it in this state or why is it in that state? It's because it's up to the host. And if there's multiple hosts for a certain year, then sometimes it's voted on. Sometimes just logistically, it just makes sense one area over another. But how did you come about ending up in Little Rock?
Well, I knew that we have been going back and forth to one coast or the other. And I had not been to one that was in the more the central location. I do live in the centralized location right now. And I thought, well, if maybe I can find one of these states, Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas. So I started looking into all of them to see where maybe I could find the best fit for us. And it just so happened the best fit is going to turn out to be Little Rock.
So admittedly, I have never been to Arkansas. It's actually one of the handful of states that I have not been to. So I'm one of those people who are trying to check them all off. So that's kind of exciting for me. But when I come to Little Rock outside the convention, what should I do?
So one of the things that I've been living here a long time and I go to a lot of the same things in Little Rock. But once I decided we might want to have a convention there, I started looking into some things. And you've got, of course, you've got the Clinton Museum that's right here in that area. You've got the waterfront there, just all the touristy things that we have. There's some fascinating littler museums that there's a fish museum that you can donate your Billy Bob fish that used to hang on the walls. If you're old like me, you remember the fish that used to talk, and you can donate it to that museum, and you get a bucket full of catfish if you donate it. So I mean, there's odd things to do in Little Rock.
Have you been to that museum?
I have not, because I just learned about it when I was learning about the convention. So it's on my list to go and see.
I just wonder how many of these things they have.
Apparently a lot. So from what I'm learning, they get a lot of those donations. And then for people that aren't familiar with Arkansas and Little Rock, I learned that the cheese hot dog was created in Little Rock. So that is one of the things that I learned. There's a place where you can go learn about the cheese hot dog.
So it's and some of you guys saw some of the videos, and one of the videos was cheese and a dog, a wiener dog, a hot dog. So that's where that came from. And I was reading more about that, coincidence, and there's an argument kind of between Cincinnati and Little Rock,
right?
Who created this? So it's kind of interesting. If you Google it, you can check it out. But
you've got museums.
I'm sorry, say again?
I said you've got museums there. You've got, of course, there's just a ton of amazing places to eat there. It's close also to, so while it doesn't have casinos there in Little Rock or entertainment of that nature, you're close to the West Memphis area, which also has casinos, and then Oaklawn, which is in Hot Springs itself. Little Rock is really close to Hot Springs, and Hot Springs has all the bathhouses and everything like that. So you're really in a good vicinity to go and do the touristy visiting in Hot Springs as well.
Everyone's going to ask that question because it always comes up, is casinos are big conventions for some reason. How close is the nearest casino for someone who wants
So Hot Springs is Oaklawn Casino, and it is about 52 minutes from Little Rock. And it's all interstate. Oaklawn has horse racing, and it has a large casino and hotel as well. It's a really nice casino. The Southland Casino in West Memphis, it's maybe an hour or a little bit more than an hour away, and it's a smaller casino. It's not as big as the Oaklawn one, but there are two going both directions.
what are some of the plans for the convention? Or what have you, I realize, I mean, we're still a ways away, but what are you thinking about? Or what are some of your ideas that you want to have?
So I've got some. One of the things that I wanted to do was maybe bring in a newbie perspective to these conventions, because I want younger people to feel like this is for them as well. So I've got a few ideas for maybe drawing in some younger new people to come and join the convention. And that has to do with getting newbies in. And then I like at conventions, I like when you guys have incorporated some games into it, makes it a little more interactive. So I also have some more interactive things that I'm planning. Instead of us just sitting. Of course, I love to sit and win, as everybody does, but just some ideas that I want to try out. And well, one of the things that previous convention people have told me is just try it. It'll either work or it won't work. And if it doesn't work, then, don't do it again the next convention. So that's my plan.
And that is the beauty of it. It's your convention, and everyone usually tries different things, and some things have been amazing, some things have been busts, and past hosts will admit both.
Right.
So if you've never been to a convention, I really encourage it. I have met lifelong friends from it. I'm getting ready to get on a cruise tomorrow with people I've met through a convention. And we didn't win it. It's being paid for, but that's
right.
That's just the way it works. There's a lot more to the hobby than just winning. So
that is my favorite part about it, is the people that I've met that I am friends with right now, that I look forward every year to seeing them at the conventions, because sometimes that's the only time we see each other.
It is, and it's definitely a very big social gathering, and it is hard for newer people at times, because a lot of us have known each other for years and years and years, but we were all new once. I mean, I remember my first convention in Minnesota, like you said, in Georgia, and it is eye-opening when you show up to one of these and you think you win a lot, and there's 500 people in the room who win just as much, if not more, than you.
Right.
So it's definitely interesting, and that goes for myself as well. What else? Anything else on Little Rock that you want to share with us?
I got a couple of ideas of excursions that I'm trying to do, but I'm really in the early talks with the Visitors Convention Center about some of that. So I don't have anything really to share, but I will say that, I've got some ideas coming that as we get closer down the line, that I'm definitely going to put those out there to see if there's an interest in them.
Sure. And we'll definitely have you back on to do little updates and promote this, so that people can kind of get a feel as we get closer. Just something I wanted to mention. So I did a couple teaser videos, which you asked me to do, which I enjoyed doing with Roscoe. The first one, obviously, was me sitting on a big rock, and then I had a little rock. We've went over the one with the cheese and the dog. The one that we are looking for, a northern mockingbird, is actually the state bird of Arkansas.
Right.
Now, the interesting thing is, it's actually the state bird of Florida as well, which I didn't know.
Really? I didn't know that.
It wouldn't be shocking that Roscoe and I were in our backyard and happened to run across one of these. So that was the clue for that one.
The background, Little Rock in the background of
yes. So the Michael Scott one, where he's got the sound, if you notice the background, it is actually Little Rock, Arkansas. So there were some obvious ones, but there were just some subtle ones. I got all kinds of different questions. It was kind of fun.
I got questions about why you were holding the cookie. What's the cookie have to do with it? The Little Rock. Two people thought it was a cookie in your hand. So I was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
I get it that I'm a little overweight, but I don't just carry cookies constantly. It was a rock.
It was a rock. And then it was funny when people started to get it, they're like, I am getting it, I think. And I'm like, okay, you let me know if you're getting it.
Some people got it, and then I did the cheese dog, and that totally threw them off.
Yeah, I love that part. That was my favorite part.
But no, that was a lot of fun. I really appreciate you letting me do it with you. When will everyone's going to ask this, so I'll just ask you, when will we know dates, hotel information, all that good stuff?
So I feel like it's going to be closer to the July of or August, getting closer to 2024 when we get close to the Vegas convention. You know, as far as I'm understanding how it works, you know, we want to give everybody a chance to get to Vegas and be excited for that one before we start thinking about Little Rock. So I feel like that's when we'll start getting more information out.
Yes, and I probably was setting you up a little bit with that question because that is out of respect. The way it's worked in all the years I've been doing it is that the current host, you know, if they were sold out or once their registration closes, at that point, sometime is when usually the dates and more information is released. And then usually registration starts right about the same time as next year's convention. So you got a little ways till go. And yeah, I mean, if you haven't signed up for Vegas, Vegas is going to be a blast next year. So yeah,
I'm signed up. In fact, my 85-year-old father's coming with me to his first convention.
How'd you convince him of that?
I said the word
Vegas.
Las Vegas. We were from Vegas, so he cannot wait. He hasn't been back to Vegas in years, so he can't wait to go and see what it looks like now.
That is awesome. So, well, thank you so much. Thank you for doing this with us. And
oh, I really appreciate you even getting it out there so we can get the word out.
well, I will definitely be seeing you and talking to you over the next year and a half, but hopefully we will see you guys. I plan on being there in Little Rock in 2020.
And I think I see you in North Carolina.
North Carolina has a mini convention next March. It's sold out. It's a waiting list. But they are doing a mini in March, and yes, I will be there.
I'll see you there
Shauna.
then.
So if you're going to be there, you can meet Shauna in person then.
Yeah, I look forward to meeting anybody I haven't met. I love meeting people, number one, from being a cop for 23 years now. So I can't wait.
Well, sounds good. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you again next week.